Welcome to the 20th meeting of Junto Club. Meeting 20 is a milestone episode for a couple of reasons. It's our first episode done in person with all three of us in the same room. Also, in the time since meeting 19, Matt and Shu have defended their Ph.D.s. This meeting focuses on the good, the bad, and the ugly of doing a Ph.D. For any questions, comments, or if you'd like to rant on something important to you, email juntoclubpodcast@gmail.com. This is Junto Club.
Junto Club.
All right, welcome to the 20th meeting of the Junto Club. That is our first in-person meeting in celebration of the CDC new guideline that we don't need to wear masks anymore. So anyway, of course Junto Club we started to inspired by Benjamin Franklin's original Junto Club about around 300 years ago to discuss topics such as science, philosophy, and anything that interests us. So today our main topic is the good, the bad, and the ugly of getting a PhD. So I guess as you know, recently, me and Matt defended our PhD with different results. But anyway, welcome, I guess, we have another PhD in our midst, is Dr. O'Brien, right? So what do you think?
First of all, you just gave my full name for the first time. We got to cut that.
Oh, really?
That's good.
I think we may have said full names.
Yeah, that's right. So you're not anonymous anymore. So right now we have two PhDs. Dr. Mike Pedonati and Dr. Matthew O'Brien.
Mm-hmm, that's true. One could be, but decided not to keep working.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. But anyway, we can talk about that more later. So I guess we need to revise the introduction. This podcast is not hosted by 3 PhDs anymore. It's hosted by 2.5 PhDs. So I think based on how long I work on my PhD, I think I deserve a 0.5 PhD. So.
I think a conditional pass is 0.5 basically.
Yeah. No, I think that's, I don't know. I feel like it's, 3, I don't know. It's still 3 robotics PhDs. It's like PhDs could be shorthand for PhD.
And I quit?
Like you pursued it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's true.
That's good.
No,
you gained all the knowledge that you would have otherwise. So,
yeah.
The relevancy for this podcast, you still qualify.
I think you should be given an honorary PhD from Georgia Tech.
If I do something great in the future.
Yes.
Well, when I became a billionaire, maybe.
That would be the ultimate retribution.
All right. Why, you need to cut that.
Yeah, we do need to cut that.
Yeah, all right.
All right. Welcome back.
All right, so I guess as usual, I guess I'll start with a quote from Benjamin Franklin. And today's quote is, quote, "Who dentists love shall beggars prove," end quote. Do you know what that means?
Who dainties love shall beggars prove. I have no idea.
So dainties is fancy, right? Or something. Or, delicate. So, where is it? Who dainties love shall beggars prove. So, beggars prove.
No idea?
No,
you guys are native English speakers.
Yeah, is it just basically if you are something to the effect of if you love fancy things, or people who love fancy things ultimately will need to beg, right? Or because they need to spend on them. So it's sort of so if it's something that's I mean, I keep saying like fancy or delicate or something that like needs to be handled carefully all the time, then, and if you love it, then dainties love. So, so if it's something that needs to be handled delicately all the time and like it's dependent on you or you're dependent on it, then ultimately that will lead you to like difficulties, like so begging for something.
So you're kind of saying that who dainties love is almost like reverse, like someone who loves dainties will become beggars in the future. Right?
That's I guess my initial thought, but I guess even like if dainties, like if something delicate relies on you, that also puts you in a situation of sort of like begging for like some type of peace of mind, I guess. I don't know.
That's a reach. I'm not saying I have anything better, but that's starting to be.
All right, well, I'm guessing Shu looked it up, but that was my reach.
He never looked it
up.
No,
I never looked it up because I want to be confused. I mean, I was confused anyway. Even when I looked it up, I don't really know. I just like look at it and there wasn't any word there I don't really understand.
Right.
You get anything, Matt?
I think the best thing is Mike's first answer. Basically, what is it? A fool and his money are quickly parted, something like that. Again, yeah. I don't know. Someone who likes fancy things is going to end up a beggar because they'll be poor because they'll spend all their money. Yeah. Maybe.
It's almost like the way they arrange the world is always like you want to interpret in reverse, right? Like who love dainty might become like it's going to be proved to be a beggar. Shall prove to be a beggar.
I've seen phrasing like that, but it's pretty rare and a little weird. This might be starting to be Old English, like too much Old English for us to parse.
It's 200 years ago, so. All right, cool.
All right.
So I guess move on to news roundtable or mini topics that might want to talk about the Elon Musk SNL appearance.
Yeah, I mean Elon Musk was on SNL. It was a big controversy.
Why? What's the controversy?
What do you mean? Because I mean I think a large.
I did not watch it, so.
Well, no, a large portion of the population, like SNL, actually had to come out and say that like certain actors were refusing to be in scenes with him because he's like because he's such a controversial figure. So. I mean, I guess, like, I mean, I feel like, I don't know, like, I'm not, like, an Elon, like, I'm gonna defend Elon Musk, you know, I'm not, like, a super fan of his, but it's more just, like, I feel like 5 years ago, I would feel like he was pretty, like, universally well-liked, I don't know, or, like, and, but now it's, like, I guess, now he's, like, the richest man in the world, or at least was for, you know, a period of time when Tesla stock was, like, huge. And I feel like that immediately made him, like, demonized him to, like, large portions of the population.
Was that the reason just as well? Because I still think of him as, like, way less wealthy than Bezos. Because, like even if Tesla stock's high, it's not like he has, like, Bezos has much more functional wealth, right? Like, he could actually get a lot more cash if he was trying to.
Presumably, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is not, I don't think it's not because, the main reason is because he's rich. It's more some of his opinions, I guess. I mean, he tweets a lot. Right? His opinion is very leaning toward, like, some conservatives, sometimes he has some, so it's almost centrist in a way. And then sometimes he says stuff that offends my liberal ideas, right? And then, of course, I think even when last year, like, vaccine, like mass mandates, right, and stuff like that. And like, he was very against it. Like, you should like shut down, right? He actually went to work, right? He said, we don't need to shut down, stuff like that. And then one liberal California and a representative, I think her name is like Gonzala or something last name, and then she was like on Twitter say fuck Elon Musk, right? And then and of course she's a liberal Democrat, right? So a lot of people say, hey, why you against shutdown, right? So I think a lot of people like hate him for that as well. And then he just a little bit leaning more like conservative, a lot of stuff, right? Very like supporting business stuff. Anyway, so and then he moved to Austin, right, because of that, right? So he replied to the message, said message received, and he just moved to Austin.
Did he actually move because of that tweet?
Yeah,
literally.
Not because of that tweet, but it's more because of the tax. Like the California, like is taxing our rich people, right? There's just too much tax, so they have to move in a way. Also, it's very not business tech friendly anymore. they're just attacking these like tech people, right? So like Google, but Tesla mostly. So he also moved a factory into Texas as well.
Yeah.
So bigger, yeah.
Neuralink, the brain-computer interface company he like funds, is like, I think they opened up a lot of positions in Austin.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I mean, so it's all of that, and also like, I mean, also some people just think he's kind of a dickhead because he's like, do you remember like Martin Shkreli? Like he was the one who like had rights to like what was it, an AIDS drug?
So some drug.
Yeah,
and he just hiked the price.
He hiked the price like hugely, and he was like, and he ended up going to prison, I think, for something like.
Yeah, he's in prison right now.
Yeah. So, but he was a huge internet troll, but he was a pharma bro, I think that's what they call him. Yeah. So Elon Musk like can be like a little bit of a troll, like obviously like, you know, with the like, and people accuse him of like manipulating like cryptocurrency with like the Dogecoin tweets and the bit, like, I mean, because even like now it's like with like he recently like rejected or like stopped taking Bitcoin. You know, because like it's like a not like environmentally friendly coin.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, so it's like the price of Bitcoin went from like high 50s to like now it's back in the 40s, I think, like thousands. So yeah, so it's like so his tweets like or decisions like have huge sways over these things.
Yeah.
And so some people accuse him of being like, hey, you tweet something, it spikes like 1,000%, and you know, since you have billions of dollars, you can just like throw 100 million in and turn that 100 million into $1 billion overnight, and then like just take money from people, you know.
No. So I have seen some of the controversies about his tweets before, like throwing Tesla's stock prices up and down, and whether that's like market manipulation the SEC needs to like get involved with or something, but I guess I knew he would like, I knew he'd said things on Twitter that sometimes get people riled up, but I didn't think he was to the point. Like, I mean, I feel like actors not even appearing in scenes with him is pretty extreme. Like, Trump went on SNL. Like, was it during his or after his 2016?
Yeah, it was. I think his most recent was like 2015.
But it was like after his campaign had started.
Oh, was it?
He definitely was on SNL. I'm almost sure he went on after his campaign. Because I remember people being mad that they're like, oh, you're like normalizing like him as a person when his like message is hateful and stuff. But I didn't remember hearing anything about actors like not doing anything with Trump.
That could be fake news, Mike.
No, I mean, no, they definitely talked, like, I've heard it from several sources that, like, there were actors, at least, like, I don't know if they actively, like, said it, but, like, behind the scenes, who said they, like, wouldn't be with them in scenes.
Interesting. I did not hear anything. So, Jason Calacanis, his friends are Elon Musk. He's one of the podcasts I listening to. Mm-hmm. He's an investor, and he has a stock podcast as well. And he talked about actually, he was invited by Elon Musk to help him to write those jokes, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So when he talked about it, he did not mention anything like that. And he's the type of person that would mention it definitely if something like that would have happened. Because he was talking about some of the jokes that actually that they were talking about, and then just did not go say, oh, we're not going to talk about that because it's already too offensive or too dark. Mm-hmm. Because some of course, they're mostly liberal writers on the cast, right? So they might be afraid of doing that. But anyway, so.
Oh.
But do you think SNL are very? Did you like the show?
I mean, to be honest, like, I found his monologue actually pretty amusing. The show after that point was very, very not funny.
Okay. So besides that controversy, any other controversies you have?
Well, I mean, no. I mean, I think that was one controversy that stuck out to me just because. You actually watched it. So.
Yeah, one thing I heard is something he talked about Asperger, right?
He did say he was the first one with Asperger's to host the show.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so he did. Yeah, so he's and there have been people coming out saying like that's untrue, and I don't know if they were talking about like there have been people who've hosted the show who likely were diagnosed but didn't like admit it, or you know, like maybe after the fact admitted it, or maybe they were even people before who like but he made the claim, I'm the first person to,
first Asperger with the billionaire, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's probably more than one, to be honest.
Yeah, of course. I mean, really, he was setting up a joke with, his joke.
What's the joke?
Like, his joke was like, I want our species to, like, be interplanetary and put, like, people on Mars, like, in my lifetime. Do you expect me to be a normal, chill dude?
Okay. But I mean, Asperger is a spectrum, right? Everybody is probably on the spectrum anyway, so I could be on it too, so.
Yeah, well, I think technically they're getting rid of the term now and just put it all on, like, the autism spectrum, right? Because, like, Asperger's is basically just, like, light autism.
Right, yeah, they've gotten rid of the diagnosis, so, but I guess, a lot of people who were defending him online were saying, like, well, when he was diagnosed, it probably was a diagnosis, so.
I mean, it's a blurry line, right? When the difference between, like, a little, like, nerdy and weird and then, like a psychological condition or a psychiatric condition.
Right.
That's not concrete.
That's exactly it, because, I mean, autism really, like, they call it a spectrum, but it's really, like, 5, 6, like, many spectrums, like, it's like, how much of your verbal skills, how much of your social skills, like, empathy, like, how are all these different things impacted? And for every single person, it's different, so.
So you only like the opening monologue?
Yeah, I mean, that was, he had some decent jokes, which I'm sure they wrote, for him, but, I mean, he had some decent jokes. I mean, he talked...
No, he contributed too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, no, I mean, he was pretty funny in the monologue, and, and then, but yeah, the rest of it, the skits were pretty dull.
Yeah, I think that, like, the Dogecoin part, what did he talk about Dogecoin?
So it's kind of funny because he has been really pumping Dogecoin since then, like on Twitter, but I guess, so there were two main things with Dogecoin. One, it was a Mother's Day episode.
Yeah, his mom was there.
Yeah, so his mom was there and he's like, oh, I got you a Mother's Day gift. And she's like, please don't tell me it's Dogecoin. and he was like, it is. And, and then, like, he was in Weekend Update. He was like a crypto expert. And the news anchors, basically the joke was they just kept saying, like, what's Dogecoin? And he would say, like, it's a virtual currency. And they're like, oh, okay, what's Dogecoin? So basically the end of that bit was like, I don't even remember the name of the guy who does Weekend Update, but he was like, oh, so it's a hustle. And he's like, and Elon Musk was like, yeah, it's a hustle. But I mean, he did, like, a lot of people who are like Elon Musk and Dogecoin, like, fanatics, were like during that segment, they brought out like $1. And they're like, this is $1, like, this is real, like, what's Dogecoin? And he did say about as real as that $1. Like, so the idea being that any currency, as we've discussed, is just the faith in that currency.
Faith in possibly this, like, central bank and, a large government, but...
Yes.
So why is, when he say, I think I heard that people say, oh, he admitted it's a hustle, but it's hustle, why is hustle bad? What does hustle actually mean does it have a bad connotation?
Yeah, like, you can hustle a game of pool, right?
What does that mean?
Yeah, so, I mean, like, so you set up an expectation, like, so if you're hustling someone, it's like, I'm gonna set up an expectation that you can, like, beat, like, if you're hustling a game, like, oh, I'm gonna bet $10 that I can, beat you in this game of pool. And you play a game of pool and you play horribly. And then but you're actually a good player. And then the next game, you're like, oh, that was I'm going to bet you 100. And they're thinking, like, oh, I can beat you easily. Of course I'm going to bet 100. And then you destroy them. So it's like, it's setting up, like, false sort of expectations to take advantage of.
Sometimes people just use it just for, like, general, like, work to get money, not necessarily like a trick too. People will be like, oh, like the hustle to grind.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess many people interpreted this more as the, like, setting high expectations
like,
to, like, steal.
A trick, essentially.
Okay. Yeah, the reason I was confused because like startups, like entrepreneurial people, when I in business, they always say, oh, yeah. I'm a hustler. Stuff like that.
They're using it in the, like, working
hard.
hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Tricking someone way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's interesting. So we'll see if, now that Bitcoin is no longer part of Tesla, or no longer accepted by Tesla, if Dogecoin will be the new Tesla currency.
Okay.
Because he did ask on Twitter, like, do you want Dogecoin to buy a Tesla with Dogecoin?
He's definitely getting rich. He's like, I think I rode Bitcoin high enough. Now time to swap.
Yeah. So,
It's going to be after Dogecoin. NTFs, is he going to start selling Tesla NTFs?
Maybe.
NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Or
That's
whatever.
right.
You can't buy a Tesla because they can't produce enough of them, but you can get an NFT. Call it a day.
Well, that's how I'll get my Tesla with my Dogecoin.
All right. Enough on hustling Dogecoin on this podcast.
Okay.
So the next thing that I think you mentioned earlier we might talk about is the controversy on the psychology professor.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened there?
Well, it's my understanding that a professor, I mean, I didn't have a ton of time to look into the story, but a professor was like essentially removed from the APA, so American Psychological Association, because like I still am not sure if it's a he or a she, but I'll say he or, well, this leads into the story perfectly. So he was removed for implying that there are only two genders.
Male and female.
Presumably, yes.
Implying or stating?
So
I feel like this is where it'd be good to have his, or their exact statement.
yes. No, I mean, that is true. Let me just, I mean, I can look into it, but, let's see. A neuroscience professor was ousted from the APA email discussion group by vote after suggesting that there were only two genders, as well as past concerns over his posts. So I guess this is something that comes out. He must bring up frequently.
How did he suggest it? Like, what's his wording?
Also, this isn't being kicked out of the professional association. This is being kicked out of like an email group, which is a bit lower scale.
Wait,
Yes.
the email group?
That's what Mike just
Yeah,
said.
no. It was an email. It was an email group, but I guess he was like kicked out by formal vote.
I guess.
Yeah, but
so
he-
he's just pissed off to other people.
Yeah.
But
This is like-
he's still on the APA.
Yeah. He
Okay.
must still be an APA.
Okay. I guess it's not as controversial.
He wasn't canceled. He just had people be like, "You're annoying. We don't want to talk to you anymore."
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So his post that tipped the scale, according to one of the other people involved, was titled, "Binary view of sex false? ? What is the evidence ? Is there a Z chromosome?" So.
I mean, sounds like he was being antagonistic to
Yes.
the group.
Okay.
If that's the sort of things he's just posting repeatedly, I could see them being like, "We don't."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see that if that's his I'm just gonna just hammer this. It's just okay, it's not that important. It's 2021.
So what's the exact science on gender? Like science, the gender is still female and male, right?
Well, it's mess. It's a mess.
So, gender is usually considered a social construct now, separate from biological sex. But
Separate. Okay.
Yeah, but as I mentioned before this podcast started, I think it's an evolving concept that's hasn't quite settled yet.
Okay,
It's going to
okay.
continue to change.
Right. And I think the arguments that make it difficult, gender, yes, can be considered totally separate from sex, and often is now. But I mean, even with sex, I feel like some people will still try to argue there are more than two sex. Biology is not as nice as we would like it to be. And it's I have read a little bit about it. I'm not a biologist, so it's I cannot claim to. But it's yeah, there are definitely people who have XXY and have prototypical female traits or prototypical male traits, and the hormones will be different. At a hormonal level, they'll be have more testosterone than a lot of males, even though they present as female. And I mean, so it is messy, no matter what level you analyze it at, I guess. But I mean, so I think, I don't know, when it comes to sex, it's hard. It's still hard for me to say it's not generally speaking, you can sort of group it into two categories.
Okay.
So,
well, it's a nuanced topic. So
yeah.
so this professor did not get kicked out of APA. He's still in APA.
Yeah. So I guess it was more like it was a big controversy. Because I guess I guess it was more like the discussion group.
Sounds like it wasn't as big of a controversy as it was originally presented.
It was
about the misleading statements.
Yes.
All right.
I was just looking through news stories. And
Okay.
That headline grabbed my attention.
Yeah. Okay. All right, folks. That was not as controversial as we hope. But anyway, so let's go to the main topic now. It's the good, the bad, the ugly of getting a PhD.
Okay.
All right. So the first question is to you guys. Since you just finished your PhD and got your officially doctorate now, so what are the good, the bad, and ugly of getting a PhD?
Oh, we're just gonna talk about everything then, huh?
Yeah, just start. Yeah, what's the good, the bad? Start with the good.
I guess the good is you can ask a question that can seem daunting at the outset, and you can sort of see it. I mean, obviously, like, you don't see it through totally, but you can sort of, like, teach yourself what you need to help to answer that question. And I guess those skills you sort of learn, garner during that process. Like, I feel like very confident that I can learn most anything now. Given sufficient time and resources.
So how? You go ahead.
I was gonna say, you do have to teach yourself a lot.
Yeah.
And both, like, there's, like, stuff you have to teach yourself in, like, a very formal, methodical way, and there's stuff you just gotta, like, teach yourself to, like, duct tape solutions to because you need to get this experiment running, and you can't hire an expert in every little thing, so you just have to teach yourself how to do everything.
Yeah.
So how did you compare before PhD, like after PhD? How did you approach a problem or before you get your PhD? How do you think? How would you approach it before that?
I mean, I guess I just maybe didn't have as organized a strategy. I don't know that I have a good answer of because now when I encounter a problem, my, like, first move is like, okay, like, what's been done on this? Like,
I was gonna say that because I feel like most, like, engineering undergrads, probably computer science undergrads too, like, if you give them a problem, they just want to, like, hack at it right away, right? But, like, throughout the PhD, you really learn a respect to be, like, both how to do it and, like, a respect for the process of, like, looking up what's been done, what you can use, finding that research or open source projects and stuff like that because, well, it's necessary. And then you learn that it's better. But I remember being an undergrad and being like, I don't want to use a library. I just want to code everything myself from scratch. Which works for, programming 201 projects, but, it doesn't scale to the real world.
No, I definitely... Yeah, I can still be guilty of thinking, like, when I first sit down, like, oh, I'm going to reinvent the wheel now, and then I'm like, no, I can't.
Okay. What about good for you?
When people start saying Mr., I can be like, excuse me, doctor.
Yeah,
That's right.
No, I've been, like, I never was going to be that person, but particularly people who, like, I just want to be a little bit of a dick, like, where it's like their attitude isn't quite right. Like, I definitely have thrown in, like, oh, I just finished my PhD.
The smart part.
That's
the smart part.
Nice. Well, I guess it does give you credibility, right? People just look at it to give you credibility on stuff that you say, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, give this podcast more credibility.
Yeah, that's
all right.
It does need it.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Cool. So wasn't bad.
Everything.
The cost is a large portion of your life and soul.
Yes. Well, I won't say soul. Like, I've sold my soul long ago. But I would say for soul, I'll substitute mental health and self-assurance and happiness.
Yeah.
So definitely the bad is just like you live. Like, so I guess in the working world, Like, in theory, like, I mean, in almost every contract you're gonna sign, it's gonna be like, hey, we can part with you at any time, and you can part with us at any time. So there's, like, essentially, like, infinite, like, sort of, or, I mean, not infinite, but, like, especially in tech where there's, like, a lot of jobs most of the time. Like, you know, you're gonna have, like, the opportunities to, like, think about, like, other jobs, or if you're like, okay, yeah, I do well here, but if I lost this job, like, I could find something else because of, like, the skills I have.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like in the PhD, it's like, you're sort of like, I'm set on this track, and I just need to lower my head and go. Like, no matter how hard it is, or...
You mean how hard a PhD is?
Right, no matter how hard it is, like, no matter what setbacks there may be, it's like, I'm stuck on, like, a track, and that's, like, I just need to follow that track wherever it may go. So...
Yeah.
So I think there is more of a, like, you know,
Gotcha.
like, it sort of consumes you to a degree as opposed to, like, you know, it's not a piece of your life, but like a persistent, like, ever omnipresent part of it.
Yeah, it's such a big pile of work, and in general, I mean, maybe it depends, like, what you're doing your PhD, but in general, I think most of the work is just kind of like whenever you want to do it, which is nice, but it's also kind of like oppressive because, like, anytime you're like, oh, I want to go on vacation, but then you're like, oh man, but like I really want to try to get that next part done, you know, so I can move on and actually finish this, right? So it's like just kind of always there. I feel like with normal jobs, it's a little bit easier to be like, break away from and like enjoy your time off and other things.
Yeah, you don't have no weekends or set schedule, you're on your own schedule, so you tend to work every day almost.
Yeah. And I would say that, like, so, and this is something I guess I'm still sort of learning as, like, in industry, but like with the PhD, it's in a way your question, right? Like, it's your sort of, like, it becomes your domain, so it's like you associate, like when you put your name on the thesis, it's like this is like a representation of me in a way. Where it's like the work you do for a company, it's like it's still like you still want to do good work, but it's like at least hopefully at least a little easier to separate your identity from it because it's like their work, not necessarily yours. So
also at companies and most places it's probably more of a team effort, which is really helpful in multiple dimensions. Like you can just get work faster, they'll learn from other people, you can like, you know, combine different like viewpoints and skill sets, but like PhDs are fundamentally like solo projects generally. Again, there might be some specific like areas where they need to do work as teams, because I think I've heard stuff like aerospace, like, you know, you can't like build a new type of jet engine by yourself, it's not feasible, right? So it becomes a project that multiple people work on, but most PhDs are very isolated in a sense, the work.
Yeah, very solitary in a way.
Right.
So that's why it's bad for your mental health.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what about you, man? I feel like you are pretty like chill during comfortable, I guess, in a sense, through your PhD career. Do you have any, I guess, same suffering as Mike, like mental and stress, you know?
Yes.
You too?
I know. I am generally a very like relaxed, like pleasant person for most of the time, and the PhD gave me a large amount of anxiety.
Really? Even you?
Stress. Yes.
Wow.
It is a difficult process. It is a grind.
Interesting.
I don't know anyone. So, and I've seen PhDs like, so we were all kind of in PhDs that ended up like taking super long time, which there's some like that. But even like people I've met who had PhDs, they went by like pretty quickly. It didn't seem much better because then it was like this frantic kind of like, I have to like do so much so quickly. Like at least the slower pace, you know, you can at least like take some breathers, but then it just drags out so long. I don't know which is worse, honestly.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. No, and I hear the same thing. Like I studied with some people like for quals and stuff who like
qualification exam?
Yes, qualification exam, yeah. So, and I've seen, like, they've been out a couple of years, and so, like, they defended, like, a little before me, and, like, they were, like, almost, like, they're still very friendly, like, with their advisor, and, like, that, like, it seemed like I would have thought, like, that would have been, like, they wanted to go into academia. So it's, like, it almost seems like would be ideal circumstances for, like, a good experience, and, like, I saw a post about, like, you know, like, a year and a half out, like, think I'm finally like, you know, like beginning to repair my mental health and feel like me. And I'm like, what?
What do you mean? So they have started repairing their mental health and you are not?
Well, no. I would say I am, but it's like
Other people doesn't have mental issues, mental health.
Well, this person did, and I would have expected.
He did?
Yeah, he did, and I would have expected that he wouldn't have. So, because he was very friendly with his advisor.
I see. So he had a very good relationship with his advisor, but somehow he still have the mental struggles.
Right. Sort of like the things that sort of inevitably come with the PhD.
Stress,
the stress and the imposter syndrome or whatever may arise.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely. I mean, as Matt says, it's sort of just like a massive mountain of work, and I mean, of course, the nature of just research in general, but in particular in academia, where it's like constant critique, right? It's like you need to acknowledge at every step, I have this really interesting result, but it's meaningless or could be meaningless because of X, Y, Z, and that. So it's always constantly I worked really, really hard on this, and now let me step it all the way back because, there's things you just can't avoid, like some bias in experiment design or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Sounds good. Going back to your soul. Now you say you sold your soul a long time ago. So what did you sell your soul to?
Nothing. Well, I mean, that was more of a joke, but no, I mean, I guess since early in college, I've been too dedicated to work, but which is something I'm trying to break apart from too, but that was more of a joke.
Okay.
I guess it was more the religious connotation. I didn't want my eternal soul tied to this.
That's kind of big assumption that you actually have a soul to begin with.
Of course.
That's a big assumption. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. Are you saying it's an assumption that humans have souls or that Mike has a soul?
Yeah, specifically.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It feels targeted towards Mike.
Yeah,
it does.
No.
All right. So, we might cover this already. I'm not sure we need to go into. What's an ugly PhD? I'm not sure if that means.
All right. First of all, why are you saying ugly?
It's ugly.
Ugly. Okay, I didn't know if you were making a joke. Sorry.
Oh, why? What do you think?
I thought it sounded like ugly a few times now, and I was like, is this like a reference I'm not getting?
Oh, no, I think just the way I pronounce words, sometimes the word, if I say it too fast, and I say it very differently.
Oh, okay.
I have a Chinese, I guess, more into a Chinese accent, but when I say it slowly, ugly.
No, yeah.
How's that? That sounds good?
No, yeah, that sounds cool. That's what I was wondering, is this just like an accent thing? I don't remember hearing it before, the word. I don't know how many times I've heard you say ugly before.
Ugly.
That sounds normal. I don't think I was crazy. You heard it too, Mike?
I heard it.
I'm not trying to be offensive to people with other accents.
No.
Monolingual and ashamed of it.
No, part of the reason I want to do this podcast because I want to improve my pronunciation of my English, so you can correct me if you want to correct my English.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
But yeah, I feel like what we've talked about has been ugly as well.
Yeah, that was all straight to the ugly.
Yeah.
Not much stopping at just.
Yeah.
All right.
How do you differentiate bad and ugly?
It's the bad and the worst, I think.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
I think the worst part is the stressing.
Right. I mean, obviously you're I guess the pay, but I mean I guess we can complain less about that because there's some PhDs who pay to get them. So,
Listeners, if you have to pay for your PhD, you should be very suspect about the PhD and the college. You shouldn't have to pay for your PhD.
Well, especially in the sciences.
Especially in STEM. In other areas, even then, from what I've heard.
Oh, really?
Obviously I don't have as much experience there, but I've at least heard some people say, in humanities and stuff, you should still get some sort. It's not even at least be a TA, right? Colleges will provide their PhD students with TA jobs, so just pay them or things like that.
I see.
Yeah, but the cost of it is you do pay it with your time, your youth, right? Your mental health and stress, but you do pay with your time, really. Right?
Yeah,
and then there's other costs, you could be doing something else. You could start your own company, so there's opportunity costs. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, and so there's two ways to view it. Yeah. One's I have a degree, I could have gone get a nice job and have a real salary? Why am I doing this PhD and being paid like, poverty wages? On the flip side, you can say like, oh, I'm getting like high tier like education, and rather than paying, I'm actually being paid for it. So you can kind of view it positive or negative. Both are true.
Yeah. But you don't do it for free though. You actually do work, right? You hired your research assistant. You do some research for your advisor.
It's true. It's work, but it also teaches you, right?
Yeah.
This is like usually it's like your first research, right?
Yeah.
So I know I learned like a ton.
True.
About a lot of things while doing it. So it's not like.
Yeah. And you turn a research, you're actually doing into your thesis anyway, right?
Yeah. Generally.
Right. No, I would say definitely as a researcher, and I grew tremendously, but it's just a question of the cost of, repairing your mental health at 30 versus,
Yeah. I think one thing about getting PhDs that a lot of people say, oh, you get a master, you can just go get a job, you can pay a lot of money anyway, right? You can start earning a lot of money right away. But PhD, I think it does give you more options, right? You can do teaching, academia, right? And you can just, allow you to do a lot more stuff than just with a master.
Right.
Yeah, give you more options. So if you want to think long term, right? So, if you think you're going to live 80 years old, so maybe, thinking long term and getting a PhD might be a good idea.
Right. Well, no, and it does teach you to manage time and manage a project. So because obviously you need to decide the order to do things and the timeline to carry out those things. And in some cases, Matt helped me with one of my studies, and I helped Jaehoon, and Jaehoon helps me as well. And
I learned the lesson to never do a human study and not need that help.
Yeah, that's right. So so it does teach you some collaboration and people management skills.
All right. So going back to the I guess the ugly. Now, if you think that what's the lowest point of your PhD?
Right before proposing.
I
think. It was bad leading up to the defense too. So I guess two. So one was the human study, getting participants and feeling like that's never going to happen. So that was a very low point. The proposal, it was just more dragging, the presentation of my model was taking an outrageous amount of time. And I felt like it was there, and I just kept revising, and I was just like, this is never going to end. So, so it was just I need to just propose. Once I got through the proposal, I was maybe more motivated to be okay, I'm going to finish,
But is there a point, you say in your mental health, how bad is it? Because sometimes, I think, thinking back, sometimes I feel there's some point I feel I'm fading away, and then I was oh man, I rather, it's science, it's not depression, it's more really stressed out, oh man, I do think maybe I might be better off if I'm dead, right? So I have that kind of thought, I flash into, through my mind. But I never really want to kill myself anyway. So I wasn't depressed, but I just stretched out to the point that thought that came flash through my mind. Not flash through my mind, just it's all my mind, right? Then this, I might be better, if I'm there. So what? Yeah.
I was gonna say I've had a similar but kind of opposite thought sometimes when it's stress is really bad, where I'm just remember, I'm gonna die anyway. We're all gonna die. So, so don't freak out about this too much. In the long run, it's all meaningless. Right? So that's sometimes, that's was my mantra to get through, some of the harsher parts.
Interesting.
I would see. Okay, I don't know that I've ever been I want to be dead. I've had more thoughts I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm literally gonna be that person in a room with a straitjacket. but more because like I would think about like when I'm running a study or analyzing data, I'm like, what if this just like the data just like disappears? Like and you start to get just like these nagging like, or like what if someone like manipulates my data, or like you sort of get these like nagging things of like something small changes and it just blows up like years worth of work. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What do you mean by straitjacket? The person in the straitjacket. What does that mean?
Well, like, yeah, like, I mean, you see in the movies, like, when they go to, like, a mental hospital and the person's just, like, in a corner, like, and they, like, just their mind is gone. Like, they just cannot, like, they're just totally scatterbrained and, like, just paranoid about everything. Like, the government is after me.
But what does the straitjacket represent? What's straitjacket?
What do you mean? Like a straitjacket's like what they put around you so you can't hurt yourself? Or
okay.
Or hurt anyone else?
Okay. I don't know if that's when they...
Yeah.
That's the ones you ever see where they're like, their arms are like kind of like...
Oh, that's my straitjacket.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Alright, that's why I don't get a reference.
Yes, no. So I would say, like, during the PhD, I mean, like, I've dealt with, like, some, like, mild depression, but I would say, like, the most serious threat to my mental health during the PhD was absolutely anxiety.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that's part of the reason, I guess, I decided to not to, even though I got conditional pass, I don't want to continue anymore, because the work that I need to do to get a pass is, I feel like it's going to be take longer. They're going to take an extra, at least 3 months or so, right? And then I just don't want the stress anymore. And then I'm thinking that, okay, if I have only 5 years to live, like, what will I stop doing right now, right? And that's one question we asked before. And then it's like, okay, 3 months is like, I don't know, like maybe 10% or, of my life, remaining life or something, right? So I want to stop it now. And also I feel like I think,
you don't have 5 years left to live, right?
Just to confirm.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I was thinking it's a way that making a decision. I'm thinking like, and then the other way is like, okay, if I'm dead, like when I'm dying on my deathbed, am I going to regret not having a PhD? And then I don't think I regret it anyway. And then, I think I finally figured out that the direction and stuff that I like to do. So I want to start doing that right now instead of so it's focused on that, right? It's not, even though just like I'm so close, but there's opportunity cost of not going after that one kind of approximately direction I want to go in. So yeah. But I guess next come back to one of the questions I want to ask. I was going to ask in the beginning, first question, but I forgot. It's like, why did you want to decide to get a PhD in the first place?
Well, I can start. I did it for all the wrong reasons. So basically, it was basically like I was good in undergrad. I did academic research in undergrad, and I was told and I sort of like had always been like the overachiever. So it's like I want so they're like, oh, PhD, and I'm like, oh, that's as like high as you can go. So I better do that. And they sort of like they being like sort of mentors from undergrad and stuff, they were like, oh, you will do well, and like obviously they had done it, so they thought it was sort of the right way to go, and like they sort of said like if you hate it, like you can like there's always you can always sort of take the masters, go that route. So I was like, oh, okay, but I guess so coming in, I knew almost nothing about like what I was in for. So, and I mean, maybe that's for the best, because I probably wouldn't have done it had I, so.
Well, so I would say there's basically two main reasons to get like a PhD, if you group everything broadly. So the first is like the prestige, the title, the recognition, whatever you want to call it, like, or the achievement, which is probably my bigger motivating factor. It's kind of just like a challenge of something to do.
Yeah.
And then the second one is like, for the more practical aspects, you want to like, it does open up job or work opportunities that you would either be more difficult or you couldn't have. Obviously, the normal one is like professorship, right?
Right.
Also, some elements of research. I did feel like I probably wouldn't go into research like stuff that would maybe not you need a PhD, but would like help. It would like guide you, like the process, train you on some of that. So that was my secondary factor. For me, it's more just I don't know, just kind of like a life challenge. I guess similar to what Mike said, where it's like, oh, like I'll be the best or whatever. Not trying to be the best, just being like, yeah, like I want to do that because it seems cool and hard.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Similar for me, I guess, is like challenges to improve, and then I guess one of the other reason is that I guess I didn't really know what I want to do, so I would just follow. Actually, my ex-girlfriend was applying for grad schools, going to get a PhD. So okay, I might as well just apply too, because So that's one of the reasons I decided to get a PhD. Yeah. So well, that's cool. But I guess what's the best lesson you've learned from getting a PhD? You might have covered that already, but this is a starting question.
Yeah, no. I mean, this is...
I would say, for me, I guess, the best lesson, of course, is, I think you mentioned already, how asking a question, that is the best lesson. I think that other effect is more like, now, whenever I look at research now, like any scientists now talk about, okay, near research, they found this finding. First thing I know is like, okay, is it really true? Because I'm so close to, I know that, scientific data, research result can be easily manipulated. And not even, sometimes some people have done it intentionally, and sometimes, people can, even unintentionally too, like bias too, right? So it can be very biased, and then knows too, right? And then, even though you like sometimes, some people say, I published my research in this publication, but there's a different tier of publication, right? Some your research reviewed by other scientists, right? And they just they don't really fact check all your results, right? So it's like, okay, how do I know this is true, right? So anyway, I think that made me a little bit more skeptical about stuff that I hear about in the news or scientific, but I guess for better or for worse, right? I'm not sure if it's all good.
No, that's actually a really good point. I've become insanely jaded about like any type of scientific finding. Just because I will actually make a point if it's in an area I'm interested in of going to read a paper, and so often it's just they'll have the super simple experimental design that doesn't generalize at all, and then their conclusion section will be it showed, it implies this great thing, that you can take for a headline. And it's no, it doesn't. It does not show anything like that. I agree. I'm very cynical about science being of course it's better than any other sort of mechanism we have for finding truth. But at the same time, it's just I am very skeptical of a lot of when it's brand new studies, when it's in a textbook, sure. But,
yeah. I'll say that at least the paper you read, right? And when research, I'll say that maybe 90% of the paper you read is basically just garbage, right? So
that is true.
So yeah. Well, some are generally garbage, but I think the analogy I think of research now is kind of drilling for oil 100 years ago, where people just sort of drill and just see what comes up. And it's not even that people are it's not necessarily that someone's a bad researcher or did bad work. It's just it's impossible to know beforehand what's really going to come out of it. So people just kind of look into things and try things, and most of the time it either doesn't work or it just does. Even if it works, it doesn't matter. Right? It just doesn't matter, and only a very small percentage of research ends up being impactful and important.
Right.
And sometimes they're really stupid, simple ideas that just turn out you can build on this into something important, and then other times something that seems interesting just kind of falls off. So I mean, it's kind of similar, and obviously then there's the but no one wants to acknowledge that. You can't say that when you're publishing your papers or your dissertation or trying to get research funding for proposals where you're most of the stuff we do doesn't matter whether it's true or not, or it's just kind of largely bullshit, and we're hoping to actually find something good because you gotta act this is the people talk in academia of pressure to publish, right? You gotta try to get
publish or perish.
Publish or perish. You need at least some successful results. So there's bad incentives that make people keep people from acknowledging the reality of research that is just, most of it's just not going to matter at all.
Right.
Yeah, I would say this. Yeah. I mean, talking about a publish or perish thing. One. I think I heard one person talking about like maybe like re-examine the idea of academia is that when you look in that decide what to do in life, like career-wise, like you almost need to decide like what kind of game you are playing. So there's two kinds of game, right? There's like zero-sum game, right? And there's the non-zero-sum game, right? And then like he talked about like his name is Noval Ravikant, and he's a pretty good investor, you know. But anyway, what he talked about like wealth creation, right? If you focus on wealth, actually it's a non-zero-sum game, right? There's no like well, there's no like someone get more money and they don't get it from you, right? So it's non-zero-sum. And whereas like in academia, right, it's almost like because academia is almost like a status game, and the status game is almost like because you have someone who's more famous than you, and you always want to be the top researcher, right? And that's kind of almost like a status game, right? And then that is basically zero sum, right? So if you basically you need to to get it from someone, you need to compete over the other person, right?
Yeah.
So
and grants are literally like
first of all, a lot of funding, but no, it's kind of like like a musician, right? There can only be so many like super famous bands because people can only listen to so much music. It's the kind of same thing, right? Like the vast majority aren't going to be like the super successful.
Yeah, I would say musician almost maybe more be like fame, maybe. There's more like a zero sum, right? There's always someone's higher, more famous. Yeah. But anyway, so that made me think about, okay, what kind of game do I want to play, right? Do I want to play in academia and zero-sum game, or, the other, making money, just be rich, right? And then the non-zero-sum game. So anyway, but of course, academia is good, is bad, right? But it's not all bad, right? So, yeah.
No, yeah, we're talking about the negatives, and it's still, overall, it's still a good thing. But yeah, no, that's an interesting way to view it, though. It's like, zero versus non-zero sum. I've never thought of it like that.
Yeah, talk about just the game that you play. Talk about your careers-wise, right? And then also like there's another book called Infinite Game by Simon Sinek, I think, and he talk about like all companies play from. It's more like long-term and short-term, right? All companies are play like finite games, right? Because like you compete with this company, like you always like competition instead of like playing for infinite game where you're gonna coexist for a long time, right? So, yeah.
You can apply that thinking probably, like going into a new job and stuff too, or a lot of things. Like, is this something where I need to directly compete with someone and beat them to like be successful or not?
Yeah.
And it's not that's necessarily bad, but being prepared and like knowing that ahead of time, being like, that is a much more stressful and risky proposition than some sort of job or career or business venture where you just work together with people to be successful.
Yeah. And even, so instead of like focus on what your competitors are doing, focus on what your, like Apple, right? Apple is always focused on its own product instead of what its competitors are doing because they are playing infinite game. Because you're going to coexist for a long time, right? Yeah.
Right. Well, the airlines. It's essentially like 5 massive companies who just like own everything, so they know they're set.
Yeah. Well, I guess the last thing about the long-term game and the short-term games, like you can apply it to people too, right? You want to work with the people as thinking, you want to work with long-term thinking people such that, like the relationship is long-term, right? So think long-term, I guess, instead of just, I want to get this benefit from this person and I'm done with this person, right?
Right.
Yeah. So play game with long-term people, I guess, yeah. That's one advice I think Noval Ravikant was giving, So I guess going back to PhD now, so since you guys finish your PhD and then if you go back, do you think you would do it over again or no?
I think I would get my PhD again. I would change how I go about it, notably, but I think I would in the end want to do it again, especially if I'm like going back with knowledge now. I'm like, I can like do it so much better and easier and like save myself a lot of hassle and trouble.
What would you change?
So the biggest thing is So what I didn't know, and I mean I couldn't have done it, but because I just didn't know anything. I just came from my undergrad, with an EE degree, electrical engineering, and I didn't know really anything about robotics or research. So the program here at Georgia Tech was good in that they have a robotics PhD where they teach you classes in all sorts of different areas and stuff, and that's all nice, but you don't, you kind of have to start trying to pick your research and getting into your dissertation topic before I knew enough to make a good call on that, right? So if I had to redo it, or could, I guess I would get a master's, take the classes, kind of learn the advanced topics, then get a concrete idea of what I want to do research in. Or there's a lot of people who publish Ph.D.s as jobs, essentially. Robotics Worldwide is like a mailing list, and they're always sending these out where they're like, we need a Ph.D. for this project. It's already funded. It's 3 years, so come in, do research on this topic, get paid for it, and then get out. So I guess I would just come in with with a clear plan to I would come in with a plan because I came in just sort of floating, not knowing what I'm doing because I just didn't know enough.
Yeah. Anything from Mike? Did you do yoga again? With all the mental stress?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm more I literally just am happy. There's a lot in my past where I would I wish I could go back and do this. Yeah. With respect to starting the PhD, I just don't know. I'm happy it's over, and I'm happy I did it, but at the same time, it's I don't know that I guess Matt is right. I could go back and do it better, more efficiently and stuff,
but I guess it's a little unfair, right? I'm more realistic. More fair comparison is if you didn't have this, would you do the same process again?
So, right. So why are you hesitant about doing it over again? Is it because you not worth it? You don't think? Is it because you're gonna make you think you're gonna make the same amount of money when you're coming out without PhD?
I mean, I guess that is part of it. I guess it hasn't necessarily I don't necessarily have proof one way or another whether how much it's I do believe it's made me into a better researcher than I would have been had I just gotten a master's. So that is absolutely true. But I mean, I definitely have plenty of I've encountered people in industry who are not as good of researchers and just have masters, but they have made their way to similar different industries and stuff like that. So it's I guess I don't know, I don't know that the alternative, if I had just gotten a master's or something, would have been harder, in the grand scheme of things.
What do you mean by harder?
Well, just harder in the sense of going to a job you feel less prepared for. Or,
okay.
Sort of struggling in your career as opposed to sort of up front.
Gotcha. So interesting. So you don't see, to you you are more evaluating using money? I don't know.
Just long-term
benefit.
So, I mean, a component of that is money, but a component of that is also what do I do in my career? Does my mental health improve and get better? So it's if I recover, have a successful successful at different jobs, and then we're able to start my own company or do something within a company that I'm very proud of. Then it's very easy for me to say, okay, the hassle was worth it. But yeah.
Sounds like you don't see a long term. I guess you don't see the long term value from PhD without. You don't see a long term value of PhD over without getting a PhD. Is that fair?
What if it sounds to me you're saying you're not sure if the PhD was worth it for your career, which is what you're really evaluating. Because it's opportunity cost. PhD versus 5 more years of working in industry and gaining experience and knowledge that way. And I would say if your career is not going to be a professor, a PhD is probably almost certainly not the better career move.
Yeah.
So professors have to have a PhD, but otherwise, for a career perspective, you probably shouldn't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe there's some other niche jobs, but
I guess I would. The only thing that I would push back on with that is just if you're considering doing novel research, or potentially starting your own company or something, like I think the PhD, like we said at the beginning and a couple of times since, like has helped you learn how to answer questions. So if you're looking to answer a question during your career or life, then the PhD could lend itself better to that than getting doing class-based masters and like just going into a job.
You know, y'all said that, and it is true, but I'm going to push back a little bit on it because it is definitely true. It helps you, but I don't feel like the PhD process is necessary to do that by any means. I feel like that's a lesson that you could learn way quicker.
Yeah.
Like just. I mean, that's kind of like the scientific method, just
it is the scientific method.
Introspection. I feel like you could probably half learn it from some YouTube videos, and you just need to practice applying it a little bit. But
I guess it gets ground into you more with the PhD.
Yeah,
but that is true that you could learn it.
Yeah. When I look at startups right now, I'm reading my startup book, how to start the startup process, how they found a company, and how they find customers. That's basically what they do. They use scientific method, right? But they do it much faster. They have a question. Okay, have a hypothesis of what kind of, who gonna use this product? Is people gonna like this product? Or maybe they start with the problem and they have a question. Is this product gonna solve this problem, right? And they try to validate it through experiments, and they do it much quicker than PhD, right? So if you want to just go start a company, you can also learn that scientific method on asking a question. You can learn it through starting a business as well. So I do see that as well. So that's totally right.
I guess the big advantage I'd say the PhD does have towards teaching this lesson is the mentorship aspect, right? Your advisor and your committee. Drilling you when you basically do things wrong or poorly. Where if you're just teaching yourself, if you could get the concept, but are you gonna, without a mentor or someone advising you, you're not gonna learn as well, at least as quickly.
Yeah. Right. But in the case of a company, obviously, you need to find the money. You need whereas this is more of a structured, process.
Yeah.
But if you can have you join a company and there's a project lead, I feel like they could fulfill that same role.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah. And you wouldn't need the PhD.
Yeah. I mean, even mentorship, right? A lot in the business world, the startups, they have investors, and also some investors actually they mentor you as well. And then you actually do it in the real world. So I think that might be a better approach, right? If you want to also I think I'll say one downside of getting a PhD, you are kind of stuck in a academia environment, and it's not very different from the real world in a way, quote unquote, end quote, right? So the real world is the kind of the business world. That's what I'm talking about, right? So and then if you want to learn something about deal with the real world, I guess the business world might be the best way to go for it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know academics would argue we're pursuing knowledge as opposed to industry, which is pursuing money, but I feel industry would say we're trying to make practical things, and academia is, just
chasing prestige or something.
Just chasing prestige or whatever.
Yeah, I feel that's the status game I was talking about.
Right, the
prestige.
I mean, I feel like they're both right about the other, and in a little bit of a way.
A little bit. So I would say. I mean, one of the reasons I think I decided to go to get a PhD is because right now I'm really interested in business, but back in the day I was younger, my undergrad, I wasn't really interested in business because I was I guess being lied to. I was feed the liberal lie about business world is just all about money and all they want is just money. So I think I was a little bit. So that's one. Okay, I want to do something that's good for humanity, kind of make some contributions in the world. So maybe I should pursue knowledge and then just go get a PhD so I can make some impact. So I can, and say to myself, I don't really care about money, right? But actually, right now, I realize, business world is actually very, very interesting, right? And if you actually do the same thing, you try to solve people's problems, have questions, and then try to help other people as well. So anyway, so I would say. So that's why when you're mentioning, academia can have the very biased view of, business world is all about money, right? People are richer and richer. So there's a very Hollywood version of people being feeding those like liberal ideas that actually like make you go one direction that you might not be suited for. Right? So I'm just talking about myself, right? So you have an ideal to help other people instead of just go, make money, and that money you can use that money in the future to help other people, right? So yeah.
And businesses can do a lot of good too.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree with that. So
anyway. I mean, I could take the cynical position and say, like, I think both, like I say, I think many people in industry are just pursuing money. Or many businesses, like, the bottom line is the bottom line. And that is not 100% universally heard. Like, there are good businesses. And similarly in academia, I think a lot of people are, chasing prestige more so than chasing good knowledge.
Yeah.
But again, that isn't universal either. So.
I mean, referencing earlier thing, maybe this would annoy some people, but I think Elon Musk, I would say, you look at his business ventures, most of them seem to be like new tech that is beneficial to humanity, right? Electric cars, battery systems that will help renewable power, even like going to Mars. Okay, maybe you say whether that's not near-term benefit, but you could argue it's long-term benefit. Like he clearly, like he's gotten rich, but he's also clearly been like focused his companies towards what I would argue is good things. I think most people would agree they're good things.
Yeah, no, I mean, like he invested, I don't know, like tens of millions of dollars of his own money in like starting Neuralink, and
that might have big like research implications for like helping people with all sorts of like different brain diseases and stuff.
Right, exactly.
That's also far future, but like Tesla's making electric cars cool and more available. That's like near-term future for something very important, right?
Right. No, I agree with that. If I were a billionaire ever, I would like to think that I would throw my money into just like doing cool things.
That also help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, are we done discussing the PhD?
Not yet.
Last
question.
Question.
So I hope we have convinced other people not to get PhDs.
I'm pretty sure everyone's listening. That's what if anyone actually listens to all this, they'd definitely be like, oh, fuck that.
So if someone that still decide to get PhD, like how would you recommend, like, to just quick advice, like getting into a grad school, like PhD program, and what's the
getting into grad school, like how to get in?
Yeah, and any advice on application process?
Do research in undergrad, identify a lab that like fits with your research and apply to it.
And or you need letters of recommendation. I feel like that's the hard part. So you need to like you can't just like go to class and leave. You got to get friendly with some professors in your undergrad. Which doing some research should give you like one or two right off the bat, but then maybe someone else. I mean, I'm gonna assume you have decent grades and you can do like decent on the GRE or whatever test, right? Like that's kind of an assumption if you can't do that.
I feel like I've heard a 3.5 is like they want like a 3.5 and they don't care if it's a 3.5 or a 4.
Yeah, so. I could believe that. I mean, like, you're not gonna get in there with like straight C's, but like, but you don't need. It's not about being the star academic in class, but so I think the letters of recommendation are what you need to think about ahead of time that you would probably forget.
Okay. All right. Actually, the last question is more for Mike, I guess. How do you transition from PhD to work right now?
I mean, it's good. Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely like the stress level is considerably lower. And I mean, I've been in most of the work I've done, I've been reasonably I haven't like encountered a situation where I was like, oh, industry is just so different and I wasn't prepared for this. Like, I mean, it's just, I think for the most part, it's like a lot less stressful. I mean, you do have some visibility of like, oh, the work I'm doing could benefit people in this way. Like, there's a very clear, like, this is how your work could be applied in like the real world. So that's nice. I mean, as some of the work I've done has been a little bit more like on the side of like publish, like to disseminate the information and advertise the company versus like directly in a product, but I've had some like direct in product experience. So that's really why I wanted to go into industry, because I did want to see like the work I'm doing is actually being used.
Gotcha. So that reminded me of a quote from someone. They were talking about something. I forgot where's the quote from. They were talking about this thing works in practice, but does it work in theory? That's what academia would say about that. But I think it's more like economic theories. Like, okay, this works in practice, but does it work in theory?
It's not a terrible question.
Very, 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 very different between the control theory, right? Oh, does this work in theory, but does it work in practice?
In theory, it works. In practice.
Anyway, so I think it's I guess. Any last thoughts, comments? No?
Maybe the hardship is what makes us stronger / better or whatever. Makes it all worth it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe the suffering is part of what is needed.
Well, it's sort of like one of the like senior level people in my company did say, like, when it comes to hiring, like, he's very quick to go with a PhD. Like, he's like, PhD makes the hiring process easier. And in a way, it's like sort of what they talk about, like the military, right? Like, you know, they break you down and sort of build you back up. Like, they teach you discipline. So it's like, if you have a PhD, you know, you have someone who's like disciplined.
Yeah. It's very much like mental challenge, right? You go through a mental training to, so.
Yeah, so, I mean.
I guess masters are a bit of a dice roll now, because especially with how many online master programs are like pumping out. I'm not trying to hate on master's programs, because you could get a master's, like, learn the material in class and like study it genuinely and come out like knowledgeable and competent. But you can also definitely like just kind of like breeze your way with your gentleman B's or C's in master's classes, right? And not really know much at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, going back to your struggle thing, I would say that reminds me of a quote from a guy. I forgot his name, but his quote is like, easy choice, hard life. Hard choices, easy life. So basically, same thing, like you go through life making hard choices, like really struggling with these choices you make, your life can be easier. Right? If you always making the easy choices, I want to grab this candy, you're always making these easy choices, you're gonna have a hard life, basically.
That's interesting. I'll put out one thing.
Yeah.
As a final statement. Okay, so I feel like there's a non-trivial number of kids who are like, they go through high school, they're like the smartest, maybe they go to college, they're still like pretty smart, and you have like, I was one of those kids, you have a very high opinion of yourself, you have a little bit of an ego, maybe you recognize it, maybe you don't. If you really believe you're so smart, go do a PhD at a top tier university and see, like, if that'll either you are actually a genius or you'll be, get put in your place a little bit, which humbling experiences are good, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that, if anything, it taught, I feel like it taught me, there's no one that smart. You look at, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, these guys have, hundreds of billions of dollars, and you're I bet they're super hardworking, super smart, but, is the delta between them and, people around here, that great?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So.
Einstein was that smart.
Yeah, okay. I guess, literally, maybe there's, once in, many generations, people where it's okay, yeah, they're, legit, they're, evolved beyond me. But.
This is a sidetrack, but, in 1 year, Einstein published 4 papers that basically revolutionized physics. Each of the papers had, a revolutionary idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was, one of the relativity papers, I think one of, the wave-particle duality, and some other stuff. And it's something about the, was it the Brownian motion or Brownian motion?
Right.
Once you've been through academia, that's so much, 4 papers in a year at all is hard.
Right.
4 papers that each revolutionize your field is absolutely mind-bendingly amazing, and I don't understand how a human could do that. But
he's an alien.
You're right. But for 99.999% of people, yeah, I would say it's a humbling experience. So if you're one of those, kids who thinks they're really smart because they did great in high school and didn't have to study.
Yeah. I would say, you talking about delta and the difference in intelligence.
Right.
Probably not much between Elon Musk and you, but I'll say he does like those people, and they have the tendency, they are very much action bias. They just do stuff or more stuff, right? And they take more risks, right? Mm-hmm. So I would say that is probably the difference. And then with their intelligence, you're gonna make you a billionaire.
They also seem to be super hardworking. Like most of them seem to be the sort of people who work like 70 hours a week. Like, you and I might go home and goof off when they would stay late like every day of the week just to not even because they needed to, just to do it, right?
Right.
So last year or just recently, right? Elon Musk, he was sleeping under his desk, in the factory, right next to the factory, right? Mm-hmm. So. And he was going through our stress too, right? Because actually, So.
No. I mean, I think there is a decision point, sort of, where it's I think at the beginning of the PhD, I was like I'm gonna work all the time, but there does get to be a point where it's you need to choose, I guess if maybe I was I'm almost guaranteed to be the next Elon Musk if I just keep doing this, then maybe I would have, but I don't think I think the risk, as you said, Sheo, was a little bit too great, so I was I'll choose life.
but the uncertainty is what makes life more interesting, right? The unpredictable. If it's all predictable, then it's kind of boring, right?
Yeah, but
in a way, of course, you want the comfort of certainty, but maybe the uncertainty is what makes your life interesting, even though it's going to give you a lot of stress.
Remember to never let you cook for you.
Yes, that's what
I said. I put beef in this, but the uncertainty is what makes it exciting.
That's
All right. I think that's a good end to this in person.
All right.
I remember. Yeah. I was gonna say an easy choice, hard life, hard choices, easy life.
I like that quote.
That's a good quote.
Cool.
All right.
See you next time.
Junto Club.